Podcast Bites.
I'd love to get your perspective on what, not that there's a breakdown, but since you have both sides, mind versus matter, like how did you manage that during your healing and how are you managing that now?
Well, as I was going steadily worse and worse and worse, I kept having to reimagine my life as a more disabled individual and how was I going to help my kids ultimately learn how to be successful adults. And I had gotten to a place of acceptance, like, I'm going to become bedridden. I'm going to become possibly demented. I was struggling with that I may have refractory uncontrolled trigeminal neuralgia, which is this electrical zings of pain every time you have sensory input. That was tough to come to terms with. I had no hope of recovery. When I had read through what I learned from functional medicine, from the ancestral health movement, I was doing all of that to slow my decline because I had accepted what my physicians had told me, and what I had learned is that when you have progressive MS, it only gets worse. There is no recovery, no spontaneous recovery. And so as I implemented what I was learning, and as I redesigned my paleo diet, and as I added electrical stimulation to my muscles, I was doing that to try and walk the little bit of walking I was still doing for a few more months. I didn't think I was going to recover. And what's remarkable is, so I have recovered remarkably. I'm walking with a cane again. I'm walking around the block, but I'm still, because I had accommodated to that progressive MS only progresses, that I was just taking each day as it unfolded. I didn't really know what any of that meant. It wasn't until the day I got on my bike and I biked around the block, I'm crying, my wife's crying, my kids are crying. And if you could see me closely, I'm crying now too, because I always get emotional thinking back to that day, because that was the day that it was apparent to me that who knew how much recovery might be possible, that in fact, I might get much closer to normal function than anyone would understand, in that the current conventional understanding of multiple sclerosis, of progressive multiple sclerosis, is incomplete. That likely there is considerable recovery that is possible, that our oligodendrocytes can repair, that we can rebuild synapses, and that we can rewire past the damage in our spinal cord and in our brain. But what a lot of people don't realize is that it's a natural part of the process when you have a progressive disease, is that you go through anger, denial, bargaining, and you finally get to a place of acceptance that this is your current reality, and you just take each day as it unfolds.
Avocado, motherfucker.